Back off.
I just got the brand new Mac. I got the Max. Holy shit computer. 16-inch. You're right.
Yeah,
Get the big.
Of course.
Get
of course
the big.
you got to
Yeah.
go with the biggie.
Get the big.
Big J. Okerson, Robert Kelly. It's Faction Talk, Sirius XM 103. It's the Bonfire. We have Andy Fiori Merck with us.
Hey, all.
And we have another guest in the studio right now.
I
Very
mean-
excited to have him in here.
We have so many guests this week.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's guest. We had a surprise guest for tomorrow.
I heard. Wow.
I mean, should you say? Oh,
No, not yet. We'll say at the end of the show.
Well, maybe we will.
Maybe we probably won't.
I mean, but it's crazy.
So many guessing games today.
We love games.
Call in if you want to guess who tomorrow's guest is.
No.
Our guest sitting in the studio right now,
We have another
a legend in the adult industry, the adult films industry. He has a new book out called Filthy, The Rise and parentheses, Pending Death of Vic Lagina, everybody. It's the great Vic Lagina joining us in studio.
Hello there.
Welcome
What's
to
up,
the
man?
Bonfire, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here. You're on the press tour with this book. This is a tell-all?
Yeah. This was I did about 20 years in porn as a producer and director for Brazzers. Started with them before they were even Brazzers. And,
What was it called before that?
Well, the first iteration was called Mansef.
Okay.
What does that mean?
It was a combination of the two owners.
Manuel and Joseph?
Yeah, something like that. But they
Joseph.
they combined, and they were a bunch of frat guys up in Montreal, Canada, and they wanted to have me shoot some porn for them, and they eventually grew to this behemoth.
Yeah.
That was Brazzers, and then opening up Pornhub, and then going in a lot of different directions.
Oh, well.
Pretty amazing.
I have an issue with those guys. If I can touch them. I have a 10-year-old that has an iPhone, iPhone 14, and
This is not your fault. He's trying to blame me too, Vic. This isn't your fault at all.
Yeah.
Put your parental controls on.
Yeah, for real.
I don't know who they are.
Stop letting your boy just diddle all over your house.
I mean, it's crazy.
He's too young to have to master the art of volume-free pornography.
Yeah, Manuel and Joseph don't need to come down and help you.
But when we came up, you're talking 20 years ago, so you've been through the evolution of porn. I mean, it was a cassette tape a VHS tape that you had to go rent at some fucked up, not the other video store.
Right.
You had to go in that back room, had a curtain.
Through the beads.
Or had a curtain. You had to be with other creepy
some
guys.
of the franchises had their own little porn
Absolutely.
section with the,
Yeah,
with the saloon
Blockbuster.
doors.
Blockbuster did. Yeah, they
No,
had,
Blockbuster had no
Blockbuster did
porn
not.
you couldn't,
ever.
but you couldn't put. You had to put saloon doors or a curtain because you couldn't put a regular door because we just shut it and jerk each other off
Oh,
to the
for
box
sure.
covers.
Absolutely. When I was a little kid, I would have pounded right into right behind a saloon door.
But that's back in the day when you had a like when I was a kid or when I had roommates, you had to go home. There was one VCR because
Yeah.
they cost $17 million. You had to wait till nobody was home and put that sucker in and then get it to the point where you liked it, push play, have the remote in your hand, pull your pants down like you were robbing the house and just jerk off and listen for car doors.
Yeah.
Like I knew I knew what a Honda door sounded like as opposed to like a Chevy door. I knew if it was my neighbor or my mom coming home. And now everything, every porn ever made, every porn and cut down to the part that you want to just get to is right here, and I can type it in anything I want. Monkey, parachute, Dutch girl, sucking dick.
Yep.
And there's a monkey in a parachute.
Nope.
Yeah, there is.
Plug it in.
Well, porn always led the way. They were always the trailblazer in technology and everything else. So,
Bobby loves technology.
I don't want to type in monkey, parachute, porn
Why?
because okay.
Christine, type in monkey parachute. What was it? Monkey parachute,
Dutch girl, blowjob.
Dutch girl, blowjob.
Yeah, I'm just afraid of what's going to come up.
It's not. I'll tell you what. It's going to be either a Dutch girl blowjob or a monkey with a parachute. Those they will not overcorrect that and find that for you.
yeah, no, I started off, we had the magazines,
Sure,
the
sure,
Penthouse,
sure.
the Playboys. And that's where, I don't know if that's where it started with me, where I was like, wow, like vaginas. And I went to summer camp, and, the counselors, they always had tons of porn. So
Yeah.
I was reading those ads, at like 12, 13 years old. So it's not that uncommon. It was happening back then before the internet, so let's not blame.
But it's not. My point is that it's not. It's so
accessible
back
now.
then,
That is crazy.
I had a thing
Yeah.
called the red tape. Okay, and it was this tape that I was famous for because, and I would give it to my friend. They'd be like, "Dude, can I borrow the red tape?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, you have to give it back." And like I get it back 6 months later.
He hasn't
I
seen
gave it to Gary Gulman once. He gave it back to me 2 years later. He goes, "Thank you." And he like presented it to me. "Thank you very much." And he gave me the red tape back because once you found that one you liked, it was hard. You had to go through hours of footage and you had to like watch it.
Was it an Up and Comers? Was that the name of it? Because they were always red. Randy West's Up and Comers.
I don't know, but
we passed around the red tape that was Jenna Jameson's first scene.
the reason why this one was good because it had fucked up scenarios, but they at the end of the thing they would be like, "Hey, what's up? We just wanted to fool around a little bit. This is my husband." So they kind of brought you back to earth where you're like, "Okay, this isn't real."
That'd be great, dude. Someone should do a porn where at the end everybody comes out to a studio audience and like takes like the bow to get. They all hold hands together,
Like a
Thank
sitcom
you guys.
in the 90s.
This has been great. And then someone
The end
walks
of a
out.
play?
Yeah.
Somebody walks out and looks one more time and then turns off the light with his dick. Great place.
So, you know what I mean? Like technology is so, I mean, you can watch anything now on your phone. I could jerk off like in the bathroom if I wanted to.
Well, Vic, how old were you when you got into? Did you go right into directing, or were you doing other stuff?
No. I had a crash and burn tale in L.A. where I was like needing money, and I wound up answering this ad in adult.
Did you do music first?
No. I was trying to get actually legit productions off the ground because that's my background. I had 2 useless degrees in production. Like you don't need those, but I for some reason got them. And I went out to LA and it always starts with a hot girl. You know, a hot girl got me to like follow her to LA and we're going to crush it, babe. We're going to do all that stuff. And
Yeah, mediocre girls get you a 3-bedroom ranch and a kid in Westchester.
Yeah, and then, you know, just like getting more and more in debt. The thing that really got me in debt was she wanted to be a white female rapper. And I was like, you go, babe.
What? She was hot, huh?
Yeah. Well,
that's bad shit.
Yeah. If she was a 6, you would have told her to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah? Why don't you wrap your face with a prettier one?
Yeah. So I bought into it. I thought my girl was going to be feminine. And it resulted in a lot of credit card debt. So then I answered an ad.
She's like, I just need more studio time, babe.
Yeah, well, we hired.
If I don't get the time, I can't make the ROMs, and I got all that in my head, baby.
Yeah.
You got to help me out here.
Yeah, so we hired a former Crip to be her producer.
That's smart.
Yeah.
That sounds healthy.
Yeah, it was.
Heard worse ideas. I mean, Suge Knight was a former Blood.
Right. Well, hey, it's L.A. You have to, kind of just go with the flow.
Yeah.
But then I had my first day of porn. A young Mexican kid with a speech impediment hired me to direct his porn movie.
Really?
And we shot 4 scenes in that first day, including
Manuel.
with Ron Jeremy was the end day, and I'm still in awe with what he could do with his body back then.
Yeah.
I'm still in awe now.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
With that body.
Yeah. He had this thing where he's like, all right, babe. Her name was Chance Fortune, and she was a busty blonde with huge areolas. And he's like, count down from 20.
Yeah.
And she starts counting down from 20. As soon as he hit 1, ejaculation.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, he's eating cold pizza butt naked in the kitchen. And I'm like, I'm going to remember that for the rest of my life.
Oh, yeah. For sure. Yeah, the countdown's great. He did that on. I watched a video recently of him doing that with a pregnant lady in the 90s. Did the countdown for her.
That's disgusting.
Wow. No, I mean just for the
No,
baby
it's
and that girl's
natural.
husband and that girl moving forward, but not to Ron Jeremy.
And that baby and that kid in high school for the rest of his life.
Plus,
That's my
Ron,
mom.
Yeah, Ron Jeremy's dick. That baby definitely saw Ron Jeremy's dick. I'm not saying he touched it. I'm just saying it got close enough where he's like, whoa, whoa. The baby was like this in the belly.
He actually saved the baby's life. The umbilical cord was wrapped around its neck, and he unhinged it with his cock.
Ron Jeremy. Would you believe me if I said Ron Jeremy saved my life in utero?
Yeah, so then after that, it was one thing led to another. I knew where to find the leads for porn. It was a website called gofuckyourself.com. And that's when I met the guys who would eventually become Brazzers. And I'd be shooting in a hotel room. I moved, after LA was done, we went back to Florida. And I was shooting as much as I could in a hotel room, like a really seedy hotel room in Florida. And, these guys would hit me up. He's like, hey, Vic, can you shoot me a titty fuck scene? I'll give you $200. So I'm there with them already. And I'm like, got another nut in you? I was like, $100. And they're like, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. And that's where it all started. Like those sleazy, like in the trenches moments was what eventually led to the guys who would become Brazzers. And I never messed with their money. I always delivered on time. I did editing, I did encoding, like I was an all-in-one service. And then they were like, okay, we're ready to go to the next level. We like you.
Was that not helped out by the degrees at all? Like that ability?
I guess. I mean,
Well, you said you were able to do all like the editing and stuff yourself.
yeah. I mean, well, okay. So before even I went into all that, I was a corporate producer. So I would sit and edit, and I would do like corporate stuff, and that's what got me out of there to go head to L.A.
But back then, you had to edit.
Yeah.
Like
Edit,
I can edit on my phone now
Yeah.
in 2 seconds.
Yeah, you didn't know the
Film
not-
it.
yeah,
Back then you had to like cut it and tape it and right. Or
Actually,
Still
in
digital.
film school I did it, but yeah, it was nonlinear editing where you did all this stuff, and I knew how to do it. So I was like, okay,
Fuck it.
I will be the cream that rises to the top, and I will shoot your porn movie, and I won't take your money. And they're going to be like, they were happy with me, so they're like, okay, well, we want to commit to you. We want to give you 25 shoots a month, but we got to get out of Florida, because Florida's like the grapefruit leagues of porn back then. I mean, Bang Bros was there, Reality Kings was there.
It's funny. I was super into all the Florida porn, and then they made a documentary really making it look like not a good scene.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But like, what was the Hot Girls Wanted?
The one guy had the
yeah.
house.
Yeah.
and just
That agent.
Yeah.
The farmhouse of the
Right.
girls like sleeping.
Riley. Yeah,
Riley.
Riley.
Was that his name?
Yes. But, they were like, but we need you to get closer to the LA talent. And I was ready to go because I got the shit beaten out of me by 3 hurricanes in 13 months. And I'm like, all right.
Jesus.
So I wound up going to Vegas because I'm figuring, all right, let's see how far I can take this. And I wound up buying this house that I had no business buying because I didn't have that much money in the bank, but they were giving mortgages away back then.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I got this huge house. And they were committing, 25 shoots a month. And I was knocking them out like left and right. And this was the stuff, even though there wasn't that much money put into these productions, that's what grew into Brazzers. And they basically took, the whole concept was big boobs and big butts and make the girl hot and just do the tease and do all that stuff. And we're going to capitalize that. And these dudes knew how to market that because internet was still in its infancy back then. So it was like a perfect shitstorm of like all this stuff. And I was like, I think I can run pretty far with this. And if I take this house, I'm just going to work my butt off. And that's where it was. And they started taking other ideas like Naughty America, like Naughty Office, right? They're like, we're going to do it, but we're going to make it without big boobs. So big tits at work. So I knocked out 10 scenes of those. And then it became like, okay, I had to deal with like $200 a scene mopes. And these are the guys that are in the corner, like, jerking it because they can't keep their dick hard.
Like us. Yeah. That's what they call us, $200 mopes.
But yeah, and then they're like, what do you need now to like elevate? And I'm like, we need bigger cocks. Like, give me the guys that can actually like fuck and they don't have to wait for wood and we can just knock this out. And once they did that, they showed me a graph of like the unique views of how many like viewers they had from what they had before to everything else. And that's when they're like, we can give you whatever you need now, like keep going. And then they just started expanding. The MILF niche was huge. So they're like, okay, let's take this idea, which involves this guy and his big dick, and let's combine the two with MILFs. And that's when you have MILFs like it big. And they're like, we want you to do some crazy stuff, like go on the golf course and, shoot the intro. And I'm like, all right. And then you have the groundskeepers like coming after you. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, I'm done. And then you take off leaving and then you just go back to my house and they have sex. But I mean, this is where it all started. And it blew up. Like, I was like, I have no idea where this is happening.
Right.
But then, the housing market busted, especially in Vegas. So,
Can I ask this too? Yeah. What's the means by which like something blows up in porn? Because I said with the accessibility now of everything available in clips on the tube sites and everything, where's the money? There's still enough people subscribing to Brazzers.com. Is that what it is?
That was back then. We're talking around 2006, 2007.
That is different, yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
and so they were able to have a good presentation of it all.
Also, you got those. They have like their own like the network thing.
Yes.
Those things was like
Yes.
Bang Brothers. This is gonna date me. I was gonna say date me, but make me look pathetic. A Street Latinas. And
Jesus
Christ. It was all but
Captain Stabbin'.
Captain Stabbin'. They fucked on
Stabbin', I know
boats.
him.
That was a goodie.
Milf Hunter.
It's like Captain
MILF Hunter. Then there was the
Stupid
college.
Oh yeah, there was Cum Fiesta. I remember that one.
Oh, Fiesta, a lot of cum.
Yeah.
I'm a Lady Chatterley type of guy.
Bobby likes it more soft.
I like a
Did like
soft
the college
He
stuff.
likes the romantic story of a ranch hand.
I like some background music playing, a soft nipple touch.
Did you? Can I ask not to sidetrack you here too much, but you shot a lot. I mean, it's all sort of reality porn, I guess, to some degree, and like scenes more. But have you done any of those on-site like reality porns or been a part of where there's actual people involved? Like I love that video so much of the porn guy stopping doggy style fucking a girl on a pool table because the frat dudes that were real were getting too shitty, and then it's just so funny having this guy walk over the boner. He's like, "Hey motherfucker, shut your mouth!" Like they almost get into a fight, and it's like a real thing. And then the girls, like, you feel so bad because like the girls go there and like they're already fucking in front of all these guys. They're gonna blow some of the guys apparently, like the real college dudes and stuff. And they were so shitty. Like, them packing up their car. It's Ashley Blue. I remember that because I always said Christine looks like her to me. But like they're just putting their bags in their car. Like, what the fuck with those guys? You can't just like grab our assholes or whatever. Yeah, it was pretty wild.
That sounds like Shane's World. Is that what that was?
No, it was after. I think it was like college campus invasion. One of those things like that.
No, I never got involved in that. Like the worst that I had to deal with when the trends were as such, where I had to be the guy, talking to the girl, like the annoying guy that's annoying you when you're trying to jerk off. Like I had to be that guy,
Right?
And I was like, oh,
The
God.
interviewer.
Yeah, the interviewer, and like like the ones you're like, well, dude, you just shut the fuck up, dude. I was that guy, and I was like, all right. And then finally, thankfully, the trend shifted, and they're like, we're going to do more scripted in the beginning, and let's just take our competitors' ideas and just make them better. And they knew how to do it, and they knew how to present it.
I like a scripted, dude. I like a little acting. I know that they say porn people can't act, but some
Bobby,
of
would
them
you
can.
audition for Pirates 4?
Yeah, right now.
Yeah, there were a few that could act, but yeah,
Some of them went on to act.
Sure.
Sasha
Sasha
Grey.
Grey.
I like a little.
James Dean.
I like a little build up. I don't like when it's hi, how you doing?
Tracy
Right.
Edwards and something?
Yes.
Yeah, I like that.
But there's also too much. There's a balance here,
Right.
because the girls, they're just like, all right, dude, I'm tired of this acting. I want to suck a dick already. Let's go. When can we fuck?
That's my favorite type
Yeah.
of girl, by the way.
So you have to keep it
In life.
quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
My mentality was, let's not take ourselves seriously. Let's have a nice little funny little skit in the beginning, and let's make the action hot. And let's get everyone look like they're enjoying themselves, and deliver a nice high quality scene. And that was what I did.
Was there ever a time where a guy didn't show up and you had to fill in?
No.
So
no.
you never like did
Never
you
been
ever,
on camera?
Did you ever hook up
No.
with the chicks?
Well, yeah. I mean,
okay.
it's you can't like be in that industry and not. But here was the thing: I was always business. Like they show up, hi, I'm Vic. Here's your paperwork. Here's your script. Let's go get you into makeup. It was like an assembly line, and I wasn't the guy.
I'm all business. Hi, I'm Vic Lagina. I want to keep everything above board right now.
But really, the whole
No
fact.
sucking dick till lunch.
Yeah. Yeah. But the whole thing was like I just didn't hit on the girls because I just wanted to get the day done, and they're like, "Why is he not paying attention to me?" Like, because most of the dudes are like,
nice.
So
Like
you
a form of negging.
Yeah, well, be aloof and be disinterested and
Smart.
watch it just happen. And they would tell my makeup artist, they're like, "How do I get his attention?" And she would be like the one that got us together because I'm a generally awkward guy, and I don't go up to a girl and
Would you
shoot my shot.
would you recommend against that, like to other people in the business, like to stay? I mean, obviously it's going to happen, but you like probably shouldn't get too wrapped up with. I mean, have you ever had like an on-set thing where there was like a problem, like a girl just doesn't like you because you hooked up, and
No.
or just some kind of thing, or just
No.
or someone try to like even say like your workspace was kind of like not good at all?
No, because I really, even back then, was like, I don't want to get involved in something where it's like it seemed weird or forced.
Yeah, but you
or-
got to watch your crew. I'm saying too, like you don't like you have it's still your workplace. Do you know what I mean? So if Jacob was like an asshole to
I
somebody,
see
like
what
it
you're
still falls back on us. Did you have to worry about like this key grip's a fucking jerk off? He's gonna blow it for me.
Eventually down the road, like I was at the beginning, was like, listen, if people want to have fun afterwards, have fun afterwards. I'm not going to police you. I was like, but when we're working.
Yeah.
Let's keep our shit together. Let's not get fucked up. And I had a pretty strong drug and alcohol policy because I had one girl literally G out in the middle of a shoot.
Wow.
She was
Was she out?
G, like GHB.
Oh,
She basically was up against the wall, started giggling, and then slid down the wall because she was covered in baby oil.
Then you started giggling.
I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
And me and the male talent were like, what is going on here? Like, and so he picked her up because he was also covered in baby oil, put her into the shower.
He had his dick inside her.
No, we didn't even get to that part.
Okay.
Like, this was when they're like,
Slow down, Bobby. You like the build up.
Yeah.
I do. You're right.
We didn't even get to that part, but he grabbed her, put her into the shower, and she like made this noise like when the water hit her, and then we put her on the floor, put like a little blanket over her, and I call her agent. I'm like, dude, your girl is like passed out on my floor. What the fuck do I do? And he's like, is she breathing? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay, keep an eye on that. He's like, I assume you don't want paramedics and cops in front of your house. I'm like, you'd be right on that, sir. I don't. He's like, keep an eye on her. If she doesn't turn blue, we'll
good
think about
advice.
this. Yeah,
It's good representation.
I was like John Travolta in Pulp Fiction.
I was going to say,
You know?
do you have an adrenaline needle somewhere in here?
Exactly.
So where did you
I think she
bury her?
did too much.
Where did you put the body?
So the first thing I did was I called my makeup artist. And I
The
was
wolf.
Like, you need. Jody.
Do you have
Jody
coffee?
was the wolf. Yeah, Jody was the wolf. She came over and I was like, "What do we do here?" She's like, "All right, I got this." And she's like, she wakes her up. She's like, "Honey, if you get up now, I can get you to the airport." And sprung up like a kid who's like about ready to miss the bus, gets dressed, and off she goes to the airport. And I'm like, okay, let's learn something from that one. Let's make sure people keep their shit together on set. Yeah. Because, you know, at the end
coming
of the
in
day,
on, well, it's probably, I mean, like, you probably don't want to work with somebody who has to get super fucked up to do it anyway.
yeah, and it's kind of gross. I mean, but that was always something that happened over time. Like, you have, like, I had to cut scenes because, like, they're like, okay, they're too fucked up, you know.
You did it long enough. Have you seen girls, like, kind of go down and get themselves back together, or vice versa, who, like, start off down and kind of got it together more?
You kind of know.
There's so much substance stuff in this world, you know, for sure, entertainment in general.
Yeah, you kind of know what you're getting into in the beginning. Like, the thing that was interesting about porn was the bigger the train wreck, the bigger the star. You know?
Oh, yeah, I bet.
And the problem was the industry was enabling that quite a bit. They're like, well, who cares? She just get her there, shoot her, and whatever. And you're like, okay, so I've got a small little window of opportunity to shoot her before she really falls off the rails. And, you know, there's a lot of darkness in that sense.
Sure.
Could you ever, like, you know, like, we'll see new comics be like, oh, that kid's got it. Did you ever see like a new girl and be like, oh, this chick's got
Oh,
it?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Did you ever discover somebody? Did you ever just make somebody a star?
No, well, I think when you got to a certain level, you're like, if I just shoot you and I shoot you well, it's just going to go on a life of its own. But you do know, and you're like, wow, she's really strong and she's going to go somewhere. Let's hope she keeps it together because the shelf life sometimes was just very short.
Who did you get to catch, like, the big ones, like Riley Reeds and stuff,
Of course,
when they were like,
yeah.
young and stuff?
Riley was already a big star, but she was always awesome to shoot. Like, you know, you don't have to worry about girls like Riley. Sometimes when they show up on your list, because we always get a list from the head office of who they want and everything else. Sometimes you see a name, you're like, oh, this is going to be a good day. You know it's going to be a great day.
I've met a who I thought was way more together than I would have pictured. She was Adriana Chechik.
Oh, yeah.
She's, first of all, it's hilarious that I didn't watch much of her porn ever, or just squirting scenes where you only heard her making noise.
Yeah.
She's a projectile squirter, Bob.
Yeah,
But I just assume by
hate
look.
that.
Well, it's funny now when I see her face, I can't see it the other way. But because of just the way she looked and her name, I thought she was going to be like a genuine.
Jay,
Like it turns out she's like from Jersey or something. Like,
Yeah.
like people I know people no Pennsylvania. I think.
Jay,
Yeah.
I don't like spills.
Oh yeah.
I almost
Keep it neat.
I almost sold my house because I spilt milk. Never mind.
There she is, Bobby. Projectile
Oh,
squirting.
I hate it.
Come on, you don't mean that.
I hate it.
You don't mean that.
I don't want to clean up. It's everywhere.
No, you let it just
Oh,
soak in.
it's underneath the cabinet. It's in the fridge.
I think I shot that one over there. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, no, I mean she was always great to shoot, but here's the deal.
Yeah.
You know, you're mixing all of that up that you see there.
Yeah.
Your health is not always going to be great. So there was times when she's not showing up because she's ill.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah.
okay. And I always would tell her, I was like, listen, if you can't make it, just let me know the night before because they're flying from LA to Vegas and I already have this up.
So I
But you
think I
did
had
it
a
at
bad
your-
cum squirt cocktail.
Did you do it at your house, right? So did you?
In the beginning, I did.
Did they squirt in your house? Like when they're squirting in your house, weren't you like, oh God?
So
Like the end of the day must suck.
He got the location fee.
Fortunately, the squirting thing didn't really take off until later.
Yeah.
But I had my own problems, like grabbing a doorknob full of lube or sitting on a toilet where you've got the ring of oil and you got their oily DNA against your butt cheeks.
Did you ever slip on someone else's cum?
No, and I never got
No friendly fire?
nothing like that.
No friendly fire?
I did, and this is going to bother you. I did get squirted on my face once.
You what?
I got squirted on.
It's fine.
I made a rookie move. I had a big beard, so it was fine.
Rookie mistake.
Yeah, I went.
Snickers.
You could just had a
Satisfied.
Snickers.
I went for the high angle.
Yeah, the NFL sponsored by. You ever have a Snickers? It satisfies.
I went for the high angle pile driver.
Yeah.
Johnny Sins was fucking downwards, and I'm like, I figure she's like, she sees me with the camera, she's gonna keep it in.
Yeah.
Nope. As soon as he takes his dick out, geyser and all over my face, and I'm like,
that might have just been her having some fun on your behalf.
maybe. But I put down my camera. I'm like, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
And
I
then,
mean, you had designated this part of the house is off limits.
yes, there was a line, an invisible line between my bathroom or my office and my bedroom. Like, this line you do not cross.
Right.
But once I think I shot my house out, like we shot too much there, it was time to move to another house and then another house. And then eventually I got a studio.
It is funny. You watch porn and when you start to recognize things,
Yes.
you're like, I've seen those curtains before.
Yes.
This is they don't live there.
Yeah. Chances are you've probably seen my pool before.
Yeah, I'm sure I have.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a big scene with Lisa Ann and Johnny Sins that it's still on their members.
We
So
Lisa very
what
well.
what is this book about?
Everything. I mean, it's my trajectory from beginning to end. How
Yeah.
did it start to how it finished.
Okay.
But I was working on this starting around 2015 because there was a lot going on. At that point, I had been doing this for quite a bit of time. We're talking 9 years. And I needed to get it out into a tangible form. But I was like, I don't know. It was more of a journal. But then, we would have a shutdown for, let's say, HIV. And I was like, all right, let's go update. And then I keep updating. And then COVID hit. And then I kept updating. And then my relationship with the company severed. And I was like, okay, the tale of Vic Lagina is ending. But then the tale of MindGeek, which is what the company eventually became, their story was ending too. But the problem I had with the book at one point was I was like, well, it's all about me. And I was like in this whole ego shedding phase where I'm like, who's going to give a shit about what I have to say, even though I've seen some shit. But then it wasn't until like I did call into Howard because they were talking about.
Yeah, I've heard him talk about you on Howard several times. They mentioned you the other day, this week.
Sal mentioned me this week.
He said the great Vic Lagina.
I love that. I was
Yes.
like, yes. But when I talked to Howard, I called him because a guy needed tips on how to have anal sex with his girlfriend, and I felt I could lend into the conversation. But the conversations that Howard was asking me, I was like, that's when the light bulb went off. I was like, I've got another 100 pages of material. So I cranked them all out, and then I assimilated all of it into the book, added a prologue, added an epilogue of the craziest shit, like the orgy at my house. It was Brazzers Live 17 poolside pounding, where I had 5 girls, 3 guys.
Christine put this in our queue?
Yeah, loud orgy in my backyard. And literally after we wrapped, the cops rolled up.
Yeah.
And I dealt with cops before plenty of my time. They always, for some reason, send 4 cops to every call like this because they're like, they want to see some boobies.
Just enough
And
for
they
a
rip those
gangbang.
they rip those pants off because they're Velcro.
That's
They
when the
start
light
fucking.
Yeah. So that's the prologue. The epilogue was when we were looking for the next Brazzers male talent. And this was the greatest shit show I ever shot.
Can you help Jacob into porn? He has a
Maybe not even porn.
Or at least
don't
teach
think
him
you do.
or at least teach him how to anal.
yeah. Could you teach him? He has this 9-foot penis and he has a solid body.
Hang on, our Black Lou has a question. Black Lou is working from home today. Black Lou, you have a question for the great Vic Lagina?
Absolutely, Vic. I wanted to ask you, how do you
If he's
feel
related to
that
Pete Lagina?
how do you feel about the new
The
state
Bayonne
laws?
vaginas.
The new what? Sorry.
How do you feel about the new state laws requiring people now to show ID before viewing porn on certain
Lou does his
websites?
homework.
Well, how do I feel? I mean, there's I guess the whole reason of it is to prevent, people from
Yeah,
from
I
seeing it.
feel great about it.
From Bobby's pervy
Yeah.
son?
Yeah,
but
I
then-
downloaded all the things that I jerk off to. I have on my phone downloaded.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then you have the invasion of privacy aspect of it as well. Here's the thing. I don't have a dog in this fight anymore, so I don't really care. It's their fight to fight.
Right.
I think it's still going to be accessible and people are still going to do it. I mean, I was seeing porn at like 11, 12, 13 years old. And, rest in peace, Al Goldstein and Larry Flint. I mean, these are the mentors. These are the ones that did it all. But as far as your question goes, of how do I feel about it? I could give a shit, man. I don't care anymore.
That they have all those rules for it. Yeah, it's probably like, I guess like,
I'm all right with it. I think
Yeah,
when we
I
were
don't ruin everything.
I know
When
I
we
wouldn't.
were
It would be.
kids,
I'd be
though,
annoyed
it
if I
was-
was a kid, but
when we were kids, it was harder to get porn.
Yeah.
When you did get it, it was there wasn't as much of it out there.
Yeah.
Found it in the
And
fucking woods.
You jerked off to a photo. We jerked off to photos.
But that's almost what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Awesome
Also,
photo.
but even if when like internet porn like came at the beginning of it though, and it took forever to download a clip, and it would be
Yeah.
a small clip, and even when it was all that, you'd get like 3 or 5 clips that were just. That's my porn.
Yeah.
Like I have those 5. Like I can't.
Yeah.
I'm out of AOL hours or whatever, and I can't. But here's and they're this big, and then you just use those. But the
Yeah.
idea that now you're just like, no, next one, flip it. All right,
I just think
add
that-
parachute to monkey Dutch girl porn. By the way, you never
We
looked
never,
over. It is.
I know.
You didn't look over.
I did.
No, you didn't.
You didn't.
She found it, right?
But you
Did
didn't
find
look
it?
over.
I did look over. She showed me
There's a
it.
variation of it.
She showed me it.
You did.
She showed me it.
Vic.
But the thing is that the progression of porn as a young kid to older
Yeah.
was a little slower than it is now. Now it's just straight to sticking shit in chicks' asses.
Yeah.
And it's like I felt like back in the day you would watch a little HBO something or a little Sears catalog titties, and then you'd move over to a Playboy, and then you go to Hustler, then you go to
But also,
Debonair if you were
said to
Indian.
her- if you
If
said
you-
you were 17 or 18,
Emmanuel.
All right.
If you were 17 or 18 though, and like you couldn't just come on a girl's face, she wouldn't be like ready for that.
Yeah, but,
Yeah.
yeah, I understand, but I think now there's no progression. It's just right to the worst shit ever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
No, that's what
right.
I'm saying. It's like no, that's almost what I'm saying. Now, an 18-year-old girl now is like, yeah, the face is
That's
where
what
you
you do.
come. Yeah,
Yeah,
Like, it
it's
wouldn't be
weird.
a mind blow. It's strange. Yeah, it's the early thing. But I would have loved it when I was a kid if I had that kind of access. Because I did have to go. I loved porn, and I had to go through quite a bit. My buddy John worked at a newsstand, and he would bring me like when the end of the month was up, they had to pull the old ones and send them back to the company in some way. But they would let the employees take some, and he didn't care about porn. What? It still never makes sense to me. But he would just give them to me, and I had a telescope box full of them.
Oh, dude, I loved the Swank and Hustler. There was a couple
Yeah.
girls in there.
Cherry.
Oh, just have that
Gent.
one
My
photo.
society.
Yeah, I think the worst was the ads in the back.
Billy the Eagle.
Oh, I love those. The fucking dude when you got a hovercraft in the back.
No, it was like
No.
it was the numbers. It was the phone numbers. To
Yeah.
call me.
Oh, dude, I did that.
Sometimes those are
So
hot,
many
too.
pages of it.
My uncle had his magazine. Me and my friend called the numbers. He had his own phone downstairs. Got charged. Got me in the kitchen. Started going, "You motherfucker!" My grandmother came out and she's like, "What's wrong?" And I go, "Tell her." And he was like, "Nothing." Had to eat it because she's Irish Catholic Boston. She was like, "Why are you yelling at Bobby?" He had to eat it because he couldn't tell him I was fucking dirty magazine. You piece of shit.
Yeah.
By the way, those ads were why probably there's transphobia today, because they would just put superimpose
Yeah.
a cock on just a super. Sometimes you'd recognize the porn girl. They just put a cock on, and then people would call those numbers. You're like, that's not what's there.
Yeah.
That's not what answered the phone.
Yeah, the first trans girl you went with, you're like, why is it? That's a weird dick.
Because you were going like, the girl's so beautiful. I guess I am. I guess I'll do it.
Right,
and then you call her and you're like, well, that's not what's there.
Vic, go ahead, Jake.
Well, you were talking. You got to the point where the housing bubble burst. That was fascinating. What
throw
happened
up.
next? Because I mean,
Vic, speaking of the subprime mortgage crisis,
Yeah. So
Yeah.
my,
After that, I have a COVID question.
yeah, my property
gonna
value dropped quite a bit, and my back was against the wall, so I had to keep working hard to not lose what I already just bought, you know.
Yeah.
And I had to stay on with this thing a lot longer than I really planned, because kind of had to. I mean, if I take on a debt or an obligation, I'm gonna fulfill it, and I'm gonna work my ass off with my back against the wall.
so that was the house that you had just bought in Vegas.
Yeah, and 2 years later, bubble burst, and now you're underwater.
That's
you're-
cool. Biggest dick you ever saw. Go.
Well, I was going to ask for the craziest story in the book. One of the craziest stories. In
Well,
the
actually,
book.
before you tell the craziest, I'm more curious. Is anything in the book where you were like, someone might be pissed when they read this? or
Well,
it's all pretty-
there's some in memoriams, because I had to talk about the girls that I knew on a personal level, and they died. But My biggest goal with the book was to showcase the bizarre and awkward. Like, I'm kind of an awkward guy anyways. I'm socially a little awkward until I get comfortable around people. But the thing I find fascinating are like the things you just can't not watch. You're just like, what's going to happen next? I mean, my life was a shit show. My romantic relationships were shit shows. But when it came to the stories where I was like, had to reveal the sex with people who were dead, I felt, one hand, it could be looked at as classless, but on the other hand, it's like, well, wait a minute. This is really what it could be like when you're fucking a porn star. Like, you think it's going to be great, but it can go sideways really quick. And those are the things that I remember, because you remember the stuff that goes sideways. You remember the bad smells. You remember the train wrecks. You remember, just being... almost feel like you're being held captive by a girl who's screaming at you to do these certain things. And I felt like a bear caught in a trap, and I wanted to eat my arm off to get the fuck out of that room. Those are the stories I wanted to tell, because it's like...
Did you know the girl who got, she killed herself after, she took a picture, like she got naked in front of like a George Floyd memorial picture?
Oh, I didn't know about that.
But
I remember that story.
Dude, I forget who said it. I don't know if it might have been it might have been Michael Che who said it on like Skanks one day. But it was, they showed that picture and they were like, she killed herself because she was so like inundated or got like hammered so much with like insults
for a topless selfie
for doing that. And someone was like, she's a porn star. She just like, that is her like memorial. You know what I mean? She's like, hey, George Floyd. You know, like, but I don't think it was intentional.
And you got to figure his other stuff is
Dakota Sky.
Okay. So I remember, I might have shot her once, and I think the reality with her was it was let's avoid, because she's not really all there.
Right.
Gotcha.
How'd she kill herself?
Oh wow.
Wow.
Okay, that's an image.
She shot the police.
What is
This girl was on.
What is your life like now then?
Complete opposite. I've been doing a lot of internal work.
You're in rabbinical school?
Is your real estate portfolio?
Yeah. I after COVID hit and the business changed forever, that was kind of my cue. Like, I think it's time to move on, because the rules changed quite a bit. My generation, the generation after mine, we always knew, like, we talked, we communicated. Hey, I'm not cool with this cut. Stop. I'm not into it. And you're like, that's the magic word. Okay, let's figure this out. The younger generation, and I don't know what it is, it seemed from like 1995 and onward, they're on their iPhones, they're on their iPads, they are social media. They don't know how to talk.
100%.
So sometimes you're shooting an entire scene. And, look at me. I'm looking at a little viewfinder. I'm looking at focus and composition and exposure. Yeah. I'm not thinking about what's in your brain. I'm relying on you to say,
sure,
I'm not cool with this. They wouldn't do that. The whole thing of powering through became a narrative. And you're like, oh, I'm supposed to be a mind reader now. Okay.
And then come out and be like, right, and I was uncomfortable in that thing.
We had so many like layers of protocols. Like, you do sign outs, they're holding their check. How did everything go? Were you treated okay? Because I always wanted people to come back. I always wanted people to have a good time.
Professional.
Right. And when you have that and you're like caught blindside, you're like, the question we're not asking is, should this person be in porn? Yeah. Because if you don't know how to say no or cut or any of that, you shouldn't be in it. And you're a liability to everyone else. And that's where I was like, I think I'm done. I think I've done enough.
What's the name of the book, man?
Filthy.
Filthy.
Yes.
Filthy, the rise and pending death of Vic Lagina. It's available at Vic Lagina, VicLagina.com.
Thanks for coming in, man. That was really interesting. Nice to meet you, man.
Very good to meet you. Absolutely, man. We hope you sell a bunch of books. Again, it's Filthy, the rise and pending death of Vic Lagina.
Andy Fiori, he's going to be annual Thanksgiving Spectacular is back again, and the Dojo of Comedy in Morris Plains, New Jersey, Saturday, November 25th.
Plugs are like a press release.
I know. And New Jersey's lineup featured Greg Stone, Anthony DeVito, and a few surprise guests. For tickets and all other dates, please go to andyfiori.com. Big J. Okerson. This, guys, sell it out. There's a couple tickets left. Low ticket sale. Philadelphia at Live Casino.
Left. Low ticket warning.
Low ticket warning. November 18th. And go to robertkellylive.com for all my dates. BigJComedy.com for all his dates. We'll see you later.
Hey, everybody, thanks for listening. That was just a portion of our actual Sirius XM radio show.
If you want the whole thing, go to SiriusXM.com/bonfire for a special offer.
That's right. And go to bigjcomedy.com and robertkellylive.com to check out our stand-up dates coming to a city near you. Crackle, crackle.